Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling a really fascinating and honestly deeply relatable paradox. Have you ever wondered why finally getting exactly what you wanted might secretly feel like, well, a crushing weight? We're going to dive right into this idea based on the post When What You Chase Starts Costing You Peace. We'll be looking closely at that hidden internal heaviness of success and how we can practically audit our lives to find true alignment. Let's jump right in.
So I want to speak directly to the high achievers out there. You know who you are. You put in the late nights, the really hard work, you stayed incredibly consistent and pushed through when literally everyone else was throwing in the towel. And guess what? The opportunity finally came. You got the recognition. The progress is right there, visible for the whole world to see. But internally, something just feels incredibly heavy. Like it's not visibly wrong to the outside world. Everyone thinks you're killing it, but deep down it just feels totally off to you.
If you're feeling that confusing sense of emptiness right now, I just want to validate that for a second. It is perfectly normal to look around and ask yourself, why does the very thing I wanted so badly suddenly feel like all this pressure? You're basically acknowledging that what was absolutely supposed to bring you fulfillment has somehow, somewhere along the line, quietly morphed into a burden. It's a very real, very heavy realization that hits you right when crossing the finish line doesn't bring the relief you were expecting.
So let's figure out what's going on here. Section 1. Unmasking our hidden gods. This is the diagnosis behind that heaviness.
To diagnose this incredibly modern type of burnout, we're actually going to look at an ancient text. Psalm 16:4 says, "Those who run after other gods will have their sorrows multiplied." Now hang on, we aren't just talking about bowing down to literal golden statues here. The source material points out that this ancient wisdom maps perfectly onto our modern lives. It's really referring to absolutely anything in our lives that we elevate to a place it was never, ever meant to occupy.
Just think about these modern other gods for a second. We're talking about success, validation, achievement, relationships, control, resources. And hey, let me be super clear about this. None of these things are inherently bad. In fact, most of them are really good things. But the text highlights that they become dangerously toxic the second we make them the absolute central focus of our existence. When they become the ultimate thing we pursue, well, that's exactly when our sorrows are multiplied. Which brings us to Section 2, the trap of dependency. This is where we go from a healthy desire to a toxic need.
This comparison perfectly captures what so many of us miss. Look, at first, it's just a totally healthy desire, right? I just want this, or man, once I reach this level, it'll be great. But then, slowly, almost invisibly over time, it shifts into, I need this to feel okay. I cannot afford to lose this. My entire worth is tied up in this. That right there, that is the dangerous shift. You've gone from simply wanting a goal to tying your entire core identity to its outcome. It's no longer just something you have, it's something that has you.
So how do you know if you're actually caught in this trap? Well, you've got to check yourself for these hidden symptoms. Ask yourself, are you constantly tired, even when things are supposedly going good? Are you completely restless immediately after hitting a major goal? Are you totally dependent on outcomes just to feel fundamentally okay as a person? Because while your life might look like a massive success story from the outside, these internal symptoms are proof that the thing you were chasing is actually carrying you now. And that dependency, it is demanding way more than it gives.
Okay, let's talk solutions. Section 3. Purpose versus pressure. It's time to conduct an internal audit.
To escape this exhaustion trap, we literally have to stop running for a minute and do a step-by-step internal audit. Step 1, audit your drive. What is actually pushing you? Step 2, identify your functional God, and we'll define exactly what that means in just a second. Step 3, you absolutely must detach your identity from the outcomes of your work. Step 4, recenter consistently. Seriously, don't wait until you're completely burned out to do a daily check-in. And finally, step 5, completely redefine what success actually looks like for you.
Now, this perfectly illustrates that first step. Just look at the stark emotional contrast between purpose and pressure. When you're driven by true purpose, it feels steady. It brings a sense of clarity. But when you're being crushed under the weight of those functional gods, literally everything feels terribly urgent and driven by fear. These idols restructure your entire life around performance and this constant nagging fear of loss.
And that flows right into step 2, identifying your functional God. I want you to deeply consider this one question right now. And be honest with yourself. What do you fear losing the absolute most? The source material suggests that your honest answer to this question instantly reveals what you are relying on instead of God. It acts like a mirror,
showing you exactly where your deepest dependency lies.
Moving on to Section 4, redefining your true success. This is the shift that changes absolutely everything.
You know, our modern culture is constantly screaming this one message at us. Chase more, get more, and then you'll finally feel better. It's an exhausting, never-ending treadmill. But true, grounding wisdom tells us something completely different. It says, chase right, or you'll carry more than you should. Because, as the author so astutely points out, not everything that looks like progress actually leads to peace.
And this brings us to such a profound, grounding realization. Peace matters more than pressure. Alignment matters way more than applause. Making this mindset shift doesn't mean you just throw in the towel and stop pursuing great things. Not at all. It simply means you stop depending on those things to define who you are. What we achieve is not who we are.
I want to just pause here for a second. Let's really take in the weight of this final prayer provided in the text. God, help me not to chase things in a way that replaces you. Teach me to pursue with alignment, live without pressure, and find my completeness in you, not in what I achieve. Wow, that is such a simple yet incredibly life-changing perspective shift, isn't it?
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really provocative question to chew on. From now on, don't just ask yourself, is my current strategy working? I want you to ask yourself the deeper reality. What is this chase actually doing to me? Because listen, not everything worth having is worth chasing the wrong way. What you run after will eventually define what you have to carry. Just take a moment to sit with that. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today, and until next time, keep seeking that true alignment.